I honestly don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm sweating like crazy. I would take my hat off to show y'all, but my hairline is crazy, but that's beside the point. The point I'm trying to make is, it's crazy that I work this hard, all right? I work this hard, huh? And it feels like I'm barely making enough to get by. Oh my. I literally sit down now and think of times when my parents was probably going through it and they said nothing. And I was like, can we go to McDonald's? Can we go to Burger King? Can I have a pizza, please? And they said, nah. And I took it as disrespect. Like, man, why can't we do X, Y, or Z? Now, being an adult in their shoes, I just be having to call my people and be like, man, you know what? I'm so sorry for how I treated y'all when I didn't get my way. Because it's crazy how our parents protected us from knowing the truth of what, like, adulthood is really, what it really encompasses. Right? Grinding so much, and still, as soon as that check hit that bank account, it's like,
All right, guys, let's pick up here. So he threw a lot at us, a lot to unpack here, and my guy is very animated as well. He's got a lot of energy for somebody who's tired. But where do we begin? So he works a laborious job. Sounds like it's probably a dead end job, maybe not. But either way, it's taking a lot out of him, and he's not making enough to the point to where he can add back to himself, is what it sounds like. It sounds like he's breaking even at the end of the month. Okay, that's a lot of people today. And he doesn't feel prepared. He feels like he wasn't necessarily prepared for life. And that's what I want to talk about first, because that is true. A lot of our parents didn't prepare us for life, especially in me and his community, right? A lot of times it's more focused on survival as opposed to the rearing and the preparing for everything that life is going to throw at you. So this is true. However, what we must still do is take ownership, because, okay, that's your circumstance. For all you know, that could have been your parents' circumstance. They were thrown at life, right? And they couldn't pour into you the way that you would have liked. Maybe they had a similar situation where they weren't poured into as much. But you get to choose if you're going to break the cycle. And ultimately, you got to own it. You've got to own your life, because we all have backgrounds. We all have things that we start off with that may not be fair, right? So, I mean, life is just life, and you are the determining factor, okay? And it's not going to be anybody else that's going to be the determining factor for your life. You are the determining factor. So what are we going to do about it? Are we going to complain about it? Because here's the problem with complaining about it. You should be sitting with this by yourself, frustrated, and allowing that frustration to build up to a certain threshold, to where eventually you say enough is enough, and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. But when you go online and you start to complain about it, what you allow access to is for other people to console you, to relate with you, and make you feel better about it. So how that frustration meter should have been going up, 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 now, because you've just got consoled by people who are telling you, yeah, it's the government's fault. Yeah, we got thrown a bad hand. Yeah, life isn't like how our parents got to grow up. Now you've got all these people giving you these excuses, consoling you, making you feel better. So now you don't get as frustrated as you should be, and then ultimately start moving and making a change and exploring other directions, other possibilities for your life. So that's why complaining can be very detrimental, especially the way that we can complain now, which we can go on social media and tons of people who also relate can then come in and make you feel better. You don't need to feel better. You got to do better because it's on you. And whether you end up becoming successful or whether you end up becoming a failure, nobody's going to want it more than you. Nobody's going to care more than you. Nobody's going to care about why it happened. It just is what it is. So that's what I wanted to address here. Let's hear if he has anything else to add to it. But we got to get out of this victim mentality. Okay? We got to take control of what we can control. And you've got full control over your life and over your outcomes. So don't let anybody ever tell you that you don't. But let's get back into it.
Can't even enjoy it. Now, granted, gotta be accountable. I mismanaged some of my money doing some stuff that I probably wasn't supposed to be doing. Which we gotta be accountable for that. But still, bro, like just the fact of like,
See? Let them talk long enough. And they're going to expose it. And I like he's being accountable. So kudos to you for being accountable. But what he's talking about is what I would say 90% of people are dealing with, which I just don't understand. It's a pretty easy equation. Just don't live above your means. But what I found and what I was surprised by when I was younger is that most people not only do live above their means, but it's kind of like impossible to get them to change that. Like they have such a hard time as if this is like a hard wall that is unable to be climbed. And I've noticed that. There's some people that feel like they have to take a vacation, that they have to go out to a nice restaurant 3 times a week, that they have to go shopping. And I've just never been like that. I've always been able to enjoy the simpler things in life and just always be improving myself. And that was always enough. And I actually take pride in being able to see that when I'm working, I'm actually keeping a little something for myself. And it's not just going all out. I want to, if I'm working, if I'm giving up this time, if I'm giving up my energy, I want to ultimately see something for that at the end of the day. That is mine. So it was always very simple for me. Even when I worked dead end jobs, I was always saving pretty well. But some people just can't do that. And we have to get out of that. Because you don't do it for today, you do it for your future. Right? There's a lot of life left to be lived. And you need to have something to show for the life that you have lived at the end of the day. Imagine living 30 years, and this happens all the time, by the way. Imagine living 30 years, and after 30 years, you have nothing to show for it. Matter of fact, you do have something to show for it. You have debt and nothing saved. How? Well, I'll tell you how. It's like what he was talking about. Working a job and breaking even every month, and allowing that to be a perpetual habit that you continue through life. Living paycheck to paycheck every month. That's how you one day wake up 30 years later and have nothing to show for it. Let's finish this out. Let's see if he has anything else of substance here. What I took away from that was he's taking accountability. Cool. But you also got to figure it out. You also have to make a change. See, there'll be a lot of people that I speak to that they know that they need to save and they need to stop spending so much money. But like I said, they act like it's impossible. So hopefully he's able to get out of that habit, lower his expenses if need be, or earn more. We got options, but you got to choose one. And for most of us, both of them are uncomfortable, so we end up choosing neither.
Thinking back of those times when you just was kind of harsh on your parents because they didn't buy you that one thing you wanted so bad, not knowing that they probably didn't have it, and if they did have it, they probably would have. I sit back now with all of the responsibilities that I have and just be like, thank you, thank you. So if you haven't thanked your parent, your mom, your dad, or both, for doing the best that they could to bring you up the best that they could, man, stop this video.
All right, I've heard enough. So we're probably not going to finish this video, but okay, you're thankful for your parents doing the best they could. That's a positive thing. But I bet you if we audited his life, he's not doing the best he can. And that's the problem. You're a grown man. And just by his behavior and his mannerisms, I'm just going to make the assumption that he doesn't have kids. So your mom did the best she could, and she had you as well as an added liability and possibly even siblings. And all you got to do is take care of you. And you can't do the best you can to take care of you and add to you. You know, we just got to be real, y'all. You got to do whatever it takes. 40 hours a week, that was passed on to you, that was normal. It's going to take more than that probably, especially if you want to get ahead. If you want to get ahead in this world that we live in, you've got to do something above and beyond. Okay? And that's just the hard truth. So, like I said, kudos to him for taking responsibility. But at the same time, you have to take responsibility. And that means doing whatever it takes to make sure that you're successful, because all these people will sit in the comments and they will make you feel better. But nobody's going to care about how you're truly living and what you truly have to come home to at the end of the day. So I want to leave y'all with that. Guys, let me know if you are liking the reaction type content. Also, you've got the email in the description if you want to send me any videos that you guys come across. That would help me. So you can send it to the email divineXunbound@gmail.com. Also, like the video. I need that. It's got to be automatic, guys. You see, I'm improving. I'm trying new things, right? I'm doing my R&D. And also, subscribe if you want to join the Limitless Legion. And as well, if you want to support the channel and tip the channel or buy me a nice coffee, treat me. The Cash App's linked in the description, as well as I have started the Patreon. So, guys, go join the Patreon. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video.